Anybody who didn't go in was shot on sight for cowardice. We went over and we crawled. If you stood up, you were dead. And I came across a Cornishman. He was ripped from his shoulder to his stomach with shrapnel. His inside was out on the ground in a pool of blood. He said, "Shoot me." Before we could draw a revolver to shoot him, he was beyond all human aid. He died. In 30 seconds he died, and he just said one word, "Mother." And that haunted me all my life.
So here, look, it says Trump unveils a $12 billion aid package for farmers hit by the trade war.
Don't spoil us. Means test it.
What he means, what they really mean is Trump unveils $12 billion aid package for farmers hit by the tariff war. That's what this is.
Jokes for this.
And of course, all those farmers have to do to get that $12 billion is to move to Ukraine. That's it. That's all they have to do. So here he is. Let's watch.
I'm delighted to announce this afternoon that the United States will be taking a small portion of the hundreds of billions of dollars we receive in tariffs. So what we're doing is we're taking a relatively small portion of that, and we're going to be giving and providing it to the farmers in economic assistance. And we love our farmers, and as you know, the farmers like me, because based on voting trends, you could call it voting trends or anything else, but they're great people. They're the backbone of our country. So we're going to use that money to provide $12 billion in economic assistance to American farmers. $12 billion is a lot of money, Merrill. What do you think? Peanuts for you, though, right?
Yeah, it's way less than you gave to the Argentinian farmers. Well, you gave $40 billion to Argentina. You gave $40 billion to them, actually 60, but you gave $12 billion to America. Do you see the problem? Also, do you see the problem of, I thought that Americans weren't going to pay the price for these tariffs, but apparently the farmers were, so now you got to give them $12 billion out of the tariff money. Okay, all right.
She's a farmer of rice. This relief will provide much needed certainty to farmers as they get this year's harvest to market and look ahead to next year's crops, and it'll help them continue their efforts to lower food prices for American families.
So get this, farm groups and Republicans' farm state lawmakers have sought the aid in part to support farmers with purchases of seeds, fertilizer, and other expenses for next year's growing season. Okay, what? So why? First of all, why would we need to buy? Why do we need help? Why do the farmers need help buying seeds? Well, that's right, because one company owns all the seeds, and America allows that because America hates you. That's why the establishment billionaire class hates you. One company owns all the seeds. Isn't it Monsanto? I'm pretty sure.
I think you're right about that.
Yeah. And as long as they meet but they can have the money for the seeds as long as the farmers meet the stipulation that they only use Bill Gates GMO seeds made from durable styrofoam. Get this. Hey, farmers. I like what Covey says. Hey, farmers. Argentina got $40 billion bailout, and their farmers got a new market for their soybean, while you get $12 billion, lost your share of the global soybean market, and a Farmers for Trump hat. That's what you get. Isn't that something?
Jimmy, I wanted to let you know that there are 4 corporations that have the monopoly on the seeds.
There's a monopoly on the seeds.
So they said it's 4 major corporations: Bayer, which owns Monsanto; Corteva Agriscience; ChemChina; Syngenta Group; and BASF, controlling 2/3 of the seeds and possible pesticide sales. Back to Jimmy.
And guess what? The farmers don't want it. Arkansas soybean farmer on bailouts. I want trade, not aid. I need a place to sell this stuff. I can work hard enough and make a product. They painted us in a corner with this China deal, and China's not buying our soybeans. They've tore a market in half. That's what they're saying. That's $12 billion drop in the bucket. Just like the last time, many farmers aren't going to benefit from this even. So they're not. $28 billion in farm bailout was done in 2018 and 2019 when Trump was president the first time. The big agro companies, the big agriculture companies, were the ones who got the greatest portion of that money. Complicit and dishonest. Chuck Grassley applied for that money twice. Senator Chuck Grassley from Iowa. So that's where the money's going. And it's probably all going to one farm, the one owned by a certain foreign interest, so they can just get all the money back again. Hey, that reminds me of the piddly COVID checks that both parties wanted to means test. Remember that?
Remember, and then Bill Maher dutifully said, "Oh, everyone was such a pig getting too many $600 checks."
Yeah,
and that's what the problem. Not the crystal ball. Fine work by her pointing out a bailout to the bank during the pandemic.
So here's July 18th. To ease the pain of Trump's trade war, $12 billion in aid for farmers. That's 2018. May 2019, Trump gives farmers $16 billion in aid amid prolonged China trade war. This is dozens of Iowa farmers get less than $25 from Trump's tariff assistance, data shows. Also, Chuck Grassley will apply for Trump's federal farm bailout cash for the second time. So it's pretty obvious that the elites are destroying our food system because controlling us through the internet didn't work. Here's an intelligent, informed farmer and former Republican leader. He speaks to the proposed $12 billion bailout. No surprise, it's not about support. It's about creating dependency. It's about control. Let's listen to what he has to say.
Hi, Chris Gibbs, Ohio. It's Monday morning, December 8th. In a few hours, the Trump administration is set to announce yet another round of hush money payments to keep farmers and ranchers sedated and to keep them in line as we approach the midterm elections next year. The justification for these payments is that they're needed to serve as a bridge so that farmers and ranchers can get to that nirvana of what the Secretary of Agriculture refers to as the golden age of agriculture that the administration claims is just around the corner. But make no mistake, this promise is a bridge to nowhere. There is no master plan to return market share to American agriculture. Let me put a finer point on it. There are no trade deals. There are no signatures. There is no ink. The truth is, these hush money payments being funded once again by the American taxpayer highlight the failed trade policies and economic policies of the Trump administration as they continue to wage war on trade, wage war on our markets that we as farmers developed, and wage war on our input costs through tariffs on agriculture and our rural communities. And what's worse? These hush money payments won't benefit farmers at all.
Nope.
They'll be immediately assimilated by our monopolies that control our fertilizers, seeds, and crop protection supplies, magically resulting in increased costs that match the payments. These payments will go through farmers like poop through a goose. So now the hard truth for my fellow farmers and ranchers. Where we find ourselves, where we are, because I'm struggling too, is by design. It's by design that you are now dependent upon this administration for your very survival. You are now dependent on your neighbor's tax dollars to survive. That same neighbor who's struggling to buy the very groceries that you provide. That should make you sick to your stomach and maybe even embarrassed. What a demeaning place to be for an industry that prides itself on its grit and independence to make an honest living off the land. But this is what the Trump administration does. It maneuvers industries and people into blind canyons where the only option is to come hat in hand and beg for relief. And once that relief is granted, they'll ensure you remain dependent and that you'll behave. Well, I got a news flash. I'm an American farmer and I don't dance. I don't grovel. And I sure as hell don't sit and behave for anyone. It's time for American ag to saddle up, stand up for what's right. Start with your commodity and membership organizations and tell your elected leadership that we want our markets back. We want our pride back. And if they don't have the stomach for it, we'll find somebody else.
as Trump would say, what a traitor. What a traitor.
This low IQ traitor.
Why is that guy so paranoid about paying out billions of dollars to somebody? That doesn't automatically mean they want you to do what they tell you to do. Hey, here's more money than you've ever seen in your life. No strings attached. Like someone hasn't watched Mr. Beast. There's always strings attached, okay? I'm certain China will meet their commitment, especially since half their farms are here in America after they bought up half our farmland. I'm sure.
Doesn't Bill Gates own part of them? Surely there's some competition.
But Bill Gates, you don't think Bill Gates is going to get that money?
Oh, wait, he's friends with them.
That's right. Bill Gates is big buddies with Trump. Bill Gates is the biggest private landowner in America. You think
he has a seed bank of the seeds because all the GMO seeds they have to buy from Monsanto, and you can't grow anymore. Like a weed dealer that told like don't keep the seeds if you find any back in the day.
Yeah. So here is what Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins said when asked if today's $12 billion bailout to farmers is a tacit acknowledgement that their trade policies are hurting them. So let's see. Is Trump's trade policies hurting farmers? Let's see what she says, because you got to give them $12 billion.
And Secretary Rollins, is this bailout today an acknowledgement that the administration's trade policies are hurting U.S. farmers? And what would you say to U.S. farmers who are worried that China is not going to hold up its end of the agreements that the president was touting?
Yeah, so two quick things to answer your question. When we were out here earlier this spring, I think I came out and gaggled with a lot of you after the president announced Liberation Day. And starting then, almost immediately, I said this president is resolutely focused. If there is any evidence that trade is compromising these farmers' ability to sell their product, that we will ensure, just as he did in term one, negotiating China one, that we'll make sure that we are mitigating for that. The really interesting thing is, though, now that we're 8, 9, 10 months into this, there is almost zero evidence, if any evidence, that what they are doing and the challenges that our farm economy is facing in row crops has anything to do with these trade renegotiations. Instead, the input costs being so high based on the last administration and not one new trade deal in 4 years, those are really the two basically driving factors in why the farm economy is today what it is. So you'll see we pivoted from, we're going to do an aid package, assuming the trade has been extremely or potentially harmful, and instead now we're just going to support our row croppers based on those input prices, based on no new deals, as we continue to monitor trade. On the China soybeans, Secretary Bessent himself, a soybean farmer, I think at least till a couple of days ago, I think he just divested, has said, and the president has said and made very clear in that room, that China will meet their commitment. And so I have full faith in what they've said, and I'm very excited. I'm encouraged by that.
But as you know, they failed before to live up to those agreements.
That's true, but it's a new day.
Yeah, of course. So China doesn't live up to their agreements, but they will this time. Why? Because no reason.
Not have concerns. I do believe that we will get there.
So it's enough money to string you along till it's too late for everyone.
So if you want to know what's happening, this is from Reuters. Trump announced the aid at a roundtable at blah, 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 blah. Growers, corn, cotton, wheat, potatoes attended the roundtable. Rollins said that $11 billion of the aid will go to row crop farmers and will be dispersed by February 28th. The administration is holding back the remaining $1 billion for fruits, vegetables, and other crops to finalize the details. That woman just said. Bessent, our Secretary of the Treasury, said the payments will be a liquidity bridge during a period of adjustment to support farmers until they see benefits from Trump's trade deals and other policies. Really? A liquidity bridge. So people receiving government assistance should say, people getting food stamps or welfare, they should say, hey, I'm not on welfare. I'm just getting a liquidity bridge during a period of adjustment. Just a liquidity bridge. That's all. I'm getting a liquidity bridge.
A liquidity bridge.
Nothing sounds more solid and secure and steady than a liquidity bridge.
She's just giving me some money to get to the oh my God.
The money for the package will come from the Commodity Credit Corporation, a discretionary USDA fund, and will be offset by tariff revenue, Rollins told reporters at the White House without providing further details. Payments will be calculated based on how many acres farmers have planted, their production costs, and other factors, said Richard Fordyce, USDA Undersecretary for Farm Production and Conservation. So we're going to offset the money farmers are losing because of the tariffs with money that we took in from the tariffs. Do I have that right? Oh, I think I do have that right. Okay. So Amy Klobuchar, the top Democrat on the Senate Agriculture Committee, said in a statement that Trump's trade policies have hurt farmers. The easiest way to give our farmers more certainty would be for the president to end his tariff taxes. Farmers have faced higher costs for agricultural inputs like seed and fertilizer, which the Trump administration has said it's examining. Soybean farmers expect to see their third consecutive year of losses in 2025, according to the American Soybean Association. Trump said at the White House that he would further help farmers by eliminating many environmental regulations for farm machinery, and that he would expect manufacturers like John Deere to lower equipment prices. Farming equipment has gotten too expensive, and a lot of the reason is because they put these environmental excesses on the equipment, which don't do a damn thing except make it complicated, Trump said. A John Deere spokesperson said the company supports the farmer aid and that it is doing all we can to help U.S. farmers reduce input costs. Yeah, they're doing all they can, except besides lower their prices. You mean except that?
It's not environmental shit on John Deere, by the way. It's the same as Monsanto, but with tractor equipment.
Scott, by the way, Scott Besson. Hey, isn't that the billionaire who runs the hedge fund Trump bailed out in Argentina?
Oh, yes. I believe the Soros boy is invested in that hedge fund. It's like they're all on the same team.
Trump also said he's asked China's President Xi Jinping to increase China's recently negotiated soybean purchases agreement. I think he's going to do more than he promised to do. Really? Xi Jinping later quoted as saying, "Gotta help a brother out."
Yeah, even though we're going to start a war in Venezuela because supposedly China's influence is too much there. What is like? Do they ever tell you the truth about anything? You're supposed to just go along with this?
That's right. So during his first term, Trump gave $23 billion in aid to farmers hurt by his trade policies. Farmers are set to receive a near record $40 billion in government payments this year, fueled by ad hoc disaster and economic aid. Net farmer income could fall by more than $30 billion in 2026 due to a decline in government payments and low crop prices, according to an estimate from the Food and Agriculture Policy Research Institute at the University of Missouri. Wow. Okay. Here's a U.S. announces new trade deals in an attempt to cut costs for consumers. The U.S. has announced framework trade deals with Argentina, Ecuador, Guatemala, El Salvador as the Trump administration pushes to reduce food prices. A senior administration official said on Thursday that while the reciprocal tariffs of between 10 and 15% would remain on most goods, imports from 4 countries, they would be removed on select. So of course they're taken away. You will see for Ecuador, for example, bananas is something they want to ship to us. So we expect tariffs will come off bananas. What? They also suggested that levies could be reduced on other goods. It's like coffee. We certainly would expect that retailers and wholesalers in America would pass along any positive effects to the American consumer. Taking off a tariff doesn't change the weather in Ecuador, but it could have a price effect. So in an effort to bring down prices, they're reducing the tariffs. But if that is the case, then what was the point of the tariffs in the first effing place? I thought the other countries paid the tariffs, not Americans.
Well, you'll have to pay some of it.
So
it sounds like a Democrat plot, what you're saying.
So here they are admitting that the Americans pay the tariffs and that we're going to take the tariffs off some of that stuff because it makes it too expensive.
Oh, so you make a horrible thing, then you walk it back a little bit, but not all the way, but we move forward into shit again, like they do everything, right? We slowly take all your rights and everything away from you. Like when Trump got in, and now you can say more no-no words than you could before. Like women don't have dicks, you can say that. And you're supposed to be grateful that you're allowed to have the rights you always should have been had. That's how it works.
The announcement comes as Trump administration is under growing pressure to tackle a cost of living crisis affecting millions of Americans. Kevin Hassett, director of the National Economic Council, said earlier this week that the United States inflation, which is at 3%, was moving in the right direction, but acknowledged that grocery prices had risen during President Trump's second term. The affordability gap that was created by former President Joe Biden's runaway inflation is gradually being whittled away by higher growth that we have. In the end, the most important message is going to be what people see in their pockets, which is higher incomes and a higher ability to spend. Okay, well, we'll see. That's what we're waiting for. Okay, and if you like to hear my jokes about this, come see me January 11th in Waikiki. That's a Sunday, or January 30th in Los Angeles at the Comedy Store. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Over to Steph.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this question was from Anonymous. Who is Blake Neff? Blake Neff is one of the people that work at TPUSA, and he comes off incredibly inauthentic.
He was a producer of Charlie Kirk's show. That's who Blake Neff is.
The bald guy?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the bald guy.
And he's definitely not a good spokesperson.
The guy who had to resign as Tucker Carlson's head writer because he got caught
racist slurs and harassing women online.
Is that the guy?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, come to me.
Oh, back to Jimmy.
Oh, wait, go ahead. Back to Steph.
Oh, back to Steph. We're just playing. But Jimmy, anti-Semitism. Okay, thank you for that one.
Arabs are Semites, by the way.
That was from
everyone.
D.
Arabs
Oh, yeah. And we haven't heard back from that interview yet that Jimmy had the other day.
Tomorrow. It's going to drop tomorrow.
Oh, great.
What?
The Z Trio.
I had an interview.
Oh, back to Jimmy.
I had an interview yesterday. A guy I didn't know was a Zionist. Some guy named Eli something, and he wanted to interview me, and I'm like, okay, I'll do an interview with you. And very quickly became apparent that he was a supporter of the FBI narrative of Charlie Kirk, just like a good Zionist, and he was a supporter of the Zionist narrative, just like a good Zionist. And well, it was a fun conversation I had with him, and I'll be showing it to you. I'll be clipping it and showing it to you. Okay. Over to Steph.
Okay. The Z Trio. It's United States, England, and Israel. Truth hurts. Wear a helmet. FU. Thank you. Charlie Kirk's neck was made of steel, and the Twin Towers were made of Charlie's neck bones. Gage. Again. Thank you, Gage. Curbs Control Alt Delete friend has done 3 shows on Erica Kirk from the 60s, mysterious wife of Florida governor, German immigrant to South America.
What?
Super strange, worth
Do you know
watching.
about Erica
Love
Kirk from 75? The other Erica Kirk that looks like this Erica Kirk, very eerily similar, and she was the wife of the governor of Florida, whose name was something Eugene Kirk. He was like this wild man, and then he married this mysterious Madam X, who moved here from Brazil, but she was German. Her family emigrated to Germany in the early 50s. And became the first lady of Florida, and she looks just like Erica Kirk. It's very strange story.
I think when we were, Jimmy, do you remember the story that the guy told us when we were in, I think it was Australia, that he said, was it the Australian president swam out to the ocean one day?
Yeah, one day in 1968. He was out swimming, and then he just disappeared.
Wait, which president was that?
Australian.
I don't know what his name was.
But we don't remember his name. No, but I'm sure it's easy to look up.
England had killed, and the letter later proved, because UK still runs. I'll bet it's to keep that. What's the name of it? It's like a Montauk that Australia had. I'll bet that's who you're talking about.
Okay, check out Jimmy's new jacket. Can you say Eric Severide? Oh, I read this one already. Switch it on. Thank you so much. Did you Ben Gavir wearing a yellow news pin to execute and lynch every Palestinian in Knesset?
Yep.
Goo 81. Back to Mr. Jim.